what's the best like cadence as far as like how many times should we publish? It should be every week, twice a week, once every couple of weeks.
I'm going to start with a story. I was in the real estate space for a long time. I've been investing in real estate since 2005. And in 2016, 17, 18, 19, I was a fairly big influencer in the real estate space. And so I got to speak on tons of stages. It was such an honor and a privilege. And I was so proud to be jumping on some of these stages. One of those stages was Joe Fairless's. Joe has a daily podcast. And there was this woman, I was backstage and I was having to follow Joe. I had to be the person after Joe, which I don't know why they put me there. Because I'm like this peon compared to him, what was that hashtag imposter syndrome? So I'm like this peon compared to him. He's speaking on stage and I'm like getting ready. And of course I got the nervous sweats. My pits are like horrible. And it goes to Q&A and I'm glad that it's at Q&A, but it's making me sweat more as I'm stressed. And this lady raises her hand and I'm seeing her from backstage because she's like right in the front, right next to Joe. And she asks all smug, like she basically already knows that Joe is going to say the answer, nope, I wouldn't do it. It's too hard. That's what she's assuming. So he raises her hand. She says, Joe, if you had to do it all over again, would you still do a daily podcast? A once a day show? And Joe thinks about it for about 2 seconds. It didn't take him long. And his answer was no, I wouldn't do a once a day podcast. But he followed it up with something that nobody would have expected. Said, if I did it all over again, I would do a twice a day podcast. Oh my God. You're basically hearing everybody be like, oh, like what the hell? Like, why would he do that? Because it's being published twice a day. He's on the first page of Google twice every single day. Now you've got all these other people that publish once a week. So on Monday, what's going to happen for just their followers on Monday or whatever day it's published, it gets pushed up. And so it kind of, for a minute, it's front and center, top left for a minute. And if your listener is scrolling through their podcast app on the exact moment that you are first and foremost, you're on the top page of Google, they don't have to scroll. You're more likely to get listened to by them, by your own listener who's already subscribed. So if you are only publishing once a week, it only happens one time in the whole week. And already on Tuesday, you're pushed down the second page of Google. On Wednesday, you're on third page of Google. For Thursday, you're on the fourth page. Friday, they couldn't find you if they wanted to. They wouldn't be able to find your podcast because there's too many other people that are published also on Monday after you, also on Tuesday, also on Wednesday, and also on Thursday. On Friday, they try to listen to a podcast. They're not going to find you anymore. So Joe found a way to hack that. Every single day, he's front page of Google. First, top left, always showing up every single day. And it would be even better for him if he showed up twice in a day. So midnight, for example, he's already up the top page of Google. And then halfway through the day, let's call it noon, he's back at the top page. And so no, it doesn't matter when somebody who's subscribed to his podcast goes and checks out podcasts. Joe is always first, top left, above and beyond anyone else. So he gets what's called the grease, because the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And he's the squeaky wheel because he's publishing more content than anyone else, constantly in front of the people, constantly making them to think about him as the go-to for that content. So when you ask
on duration, so some of them,
the length of the episode, you mean?
Yeah.
Let me answer the duration of episodes right after this and see, we'll talk about if it matters or not. So Joe does 20-minute episodes. I love how he could do that. I can't do that. I cannot do that. He jumps in, he asks like 3 or 4 questions. And then he basically says, what's your best real estate investing advice ever? And then he says, we're going to come back after this messages. And then he asks some rapid fire round. And the whole thing gets done in 20, 25 minutes. So he blocks out a 30-minute thing and he just jumps in and gets it all done. I want to go back to cadence. My belief is for my own clients, we will not even serve you because we won't even serve you. We won't even look at you if you're not going to publish at least 1 episode per week. You know why? Because you're going to fail. You're definitely going to fail. And then my name is attached to your name as I'm a failure too. I don't want to fail. So I only work with people if they do at least weekly episodes, 4.333 episodes a month, always and non-consistent. But what's better than that? 2 episodes a week is better than one. It's more than double. There's a synergistic thing. You know how it's like 1 + 1 = 3? Well, 2 episodes a week isn't the equivalent of 2 episodes a week. It has some type of exponential growth because of the additional content and everything we already talked about, where you have more shareable content, where you're on the first page of Google more often, well, the first page of Apple more often, to put it more directly, the first page of Apple more often. And you're also going to have more conversations with people, and they will talk to their people who share it with their people. And so you actually grow much, much faster.